Do you know how stressful is it to live in cities, the modern cities? Yes, today I'm going to talk about urban stress. Urban stress as a phenomenon is a very recent one. Till about a decade back, till about a few years back, we hardly spoke about it. But nowadays, we are bound to speak about it because it's a serious issue. Why is it a serious issue? Because it's causing serious health hazards, posing threat to our existence, giving rise to multiple number of illnesses, diseases, and most importantly, it is compromising our living standards. Though in essence, we stay in cities in order to heighten up or build up our better living standards. But it doesn't really happen. We live in cities because of convenience. But at what cost? The cost is heavy. Do we realize that? We don't. As I said, we realize when the time is running out or when it's too late. But the point number one, which has to be considered first, is that cities are expanding because of rapid urbanization. Large number of people infiltrate, move into cities day in and day out for better living conditions, for better work opportunities, for working in workplaces, and for recreational purposes. There is no problem in that. But the problem lies elsewhere. The problem is there that we are jostling within a small restricted place, shoulder to shoulder, to live in a city which apparently gives us a lot of benefits. Yes, it does. It do give us a lot of benefits, but again, for a heavy price. The first point of concern, at least to me, is that cities have a high density environment. We have large number of people staying in a place which doesn't have the ability to hold on to that number of people. I'll give you a very simple example. If you happen to visit a zoo, you would see a number of animals, they are caged in a small restricted space, and you'd get to see that these animals, they behave abnormally. They behave erratically. They bite each other, they fight with each other for no reasons. So the reason is that once we are bottled up, we are caged in, we are hemmed in, and that happens exactly in cities. So high population is enormously stressful for us. Point number one, the noise level. Most of the cities have a high noise level. Barring some cities in the Western world, most of the cities in other places, they have a serious issue in the form of high noise level. If you happen to be a little conscious, you'd get to hear that there is a continuous hum or a din which the cities emanate. And that noise can come from various quarters, from the factories which are running, or the cars which are moving in the cities, or the honking of the horns, huge number of people talking to each other, and various other noises which can come from various other sources. So this contributes to the noise level in the cities. And this noise can be pretty bothersome. It can cause auditory problems, hearing problems, it can cause headache, it can cause memory lapses, it can cause irritability, anger, unnecessary erratic behavior, and most importantly, an unstable kind of a behavior that we have been witnessing in the recent times. The next problem is air pollution. Everybody knows the air quality in congested cities are a big question mark. We are suffering from bronchial asthma, the breathing problems, God knows what else. So air pollution is of concern, and there has been a lot of effort to put it under control. But barring again a few cities, most of the cities do have these problems. Another problem is that constant movement. In cities, you get to see the cars moving by, people moving by. So in your field of vision, if you have constant movement, it can be a major stress in your senses, on your senses. You can, in the wake of it, suffer from continuous jamming of the head, as I mentioned, mood swings, depressive tendencies, and various other factors which can contribute to ill health and conditions which can compromise your living quality. The next is commutation. Moving inside the cities can be pretty painful. Not only dodging traffic while you're driving the car can be problematic, but also it takes a toll on your health, because a distance which you are supposed to cover in, say, 30 minutes, these days increasingly so, you're taking more than 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Cities like Tokyo, cities like Brooklyn, Manhattan, cities like Bombay, cities like Calcutta, they have serious traffic congestion. In the wake of it, commutation is a real pain for us. Now, the last point is, at least from my perspective, is extremely important. And that is alienation. We stay in cities in order to have a better quality of life. But again, we are paying through our nose. We are living in a city or cities which are actually alienating us. We are living like isolated islands. And moreover, these days the families are getting nucleated. They're getting smaller and smaller. Most of the families do not have any children. And that joint family system has already gone out of vogue. So in the wake of it, though we happen to have friends, we go to friends' places, people come over to my house, your house, but at the end of the day, or at the end of it, we are individuals who are leading a very solitary life. We are isolated. We say that we have friends, but when it's required, you don't have anyone around you. Maybe there are certain exceptions, I'll definitely admit that, but by and large, the cities are getting very impersonal. We talk to each other, but we feel that we are lonely, that we are lonesome, that we have no one to fall back upon. So this alienation, as it happens in the existential area, the existential thinkers do talk about this aspect, that how modern cities are getting increasingly impersonal, making the residents, the people, alienated from each other, and thus giving rise to a barrage of issues like depression, existential anxiety, and most importantly, to make our life feel that we are barren. I have clients, they ask me this question, what are you doing in cities? What have I done to myself? I am suffering from so many illnesses. Money is not a problem for me. I am a famous individual. I have everything, but actually I have nothing. Yes, that's the crucial point. I get to hear people talking about this, and I myself can vouch for that. Not from your own experience, I am a very happy individual. I know how to simplify life, and I've done it. You also, people, need to do that. Use Caesar to cut down stress from your life. But just to conclude this particular aspect is that modern men, modern people are actually having their back against the wall. We claim to be happy, but the question remains, are we really happy? My personal feeling is that we aren't. We feel as though we are happy. Why? Because of the stress which we are shouldering. Second is that, as I mentioned, just to repeat it once more before I end, is that modern people say that we have everything, but at the end of it, we realize that we have nothing. Yes, this is what urban stress does to us. We need to be careful on this count. We need to do 3 things. Chalk out a life of purpose. Use Caesars to extract, to eradicate, to get rid of stresses wherever you have. Identify the stresses and throw them out, shove them out of your system. And number 3, lead as much as possible a tranquil, a placid, a halcyon kind of life. It is doable. I have done for myself, despite living in a city. So unless you do this, you'll never be able to forestall the attack of the stress factors which are there around you. So only then you can control stress. There are certain changes which are necessary. You got to do it. If you do it, you're going to see the results. Mind you, and mark my words.